Thank you very much, Eva, and thank you all for having me here. I will spend the next couple of minutes talking a little bit about the, as the Minister of Nordic Cooperation from Iceland said, internal peace building in the Nordic region. I have worked the past decade inside the Nordic region, and I will not deal as much with the foreign policy of cities as we previously heard. I'm quite humble to stand here and talk about democracy and values again. As a northerner, as a Copenhagener, when we have representatives from Afghanistan and Lviv and Iran and other places torn by war and not peace. So with that in mind, I offer perspectives from across the Nordic region. Fortunately, as we have heard during the day, the Nordics remain a relatively small and peaceful corner of the globe. We are characterized by more trust, less inequality, and more social cohesion than most parts of the world. So that is, I would say, a good recipe for peaceful coexistence. As has also been stated by, I would say, maybe 90% of the people from the Nordic region on this stage today, we can owe this peace to our democratic ideals, equality, freedom of speech, trust, respect for each other, human rights, and to our democratic distribution models. And all these ingredients has kept our countries relatively safe, secure, peaceful, and prosperous for all for the past decade. Yet, although we are up here in Harpa, in this lovely, maybe the most peaceful country in the world, our democracies and the belief in democracy up here in the Nordic countries is not as strong as it was just a few years ago. We have also heard this parade of darkness that I'm just going to repeat, unfortunately, a little bit from our region here. Russia's invasion of Ukraine, new technologies, disinformation and online attacks that we don't know how to deal with, hybrid threats, mix of extreme ideologies, normalization of polarizing conspiracy theories, everyday discrimination and racism online, and harassment against politicians, public leaders, and youth, so they stay away from democracy. These are a bit of the kind of things that are luring and threatening the foundation of democracy. It's a stormy day outside of Harpa, and it's a bit stormy times as well in the horizon, some of these dark clouds. In light of this, also in light of the conversation on stage earlier, it is timely, and I've also seen that in our city network. We're one of many city networks, but I can see an appetite to work closer together, particularly around safety, security, social cohesion in the Nordic region. Also to try to build new models of democracy and trust and social cohesion. We heard some of them here from particularly the idea of the mixed city is something people are very much looking to city of Helsinki for, also in my network. That's a little bit what we work on, what we aspire to do in the Nordic region, to try to shape and safeguard the new models of democracy with around 25 cities, including Helsinki and Reykjavik. And going a little bit off script, this is a conversation also about Nordic collaboration. I have to say, I think there's a lot we can learn in terms of peace building and enabling democracy from Iceland. Because in judging on this forum as well, you have to dare to lead and use the power of imagination to create a future you want. And this is perfect as we have kids coming in the room in the middle of the speech. I think Iceland particularly, I very much admire the ingenuity, the ability to deal with the unexpected. Maybe it's something to do with the weather. The way about getting things done, we heard from the mayor previously, going directly to a problem while thinking big. This is not a traditional Nordic way of approaching societal problems. It's some kind of blend between an entrepreneur and other Nordic approaches. And this is very much needed when you need to create big visions for new societies and for democracies. I will offer you in this charade of darkness 3 pathways of light I think we should follow, and this is also based on the data and the experiences from across 25 cities. The first one, and I think that's the most important one, we must take out the brush of love and marinate kids and youth in democracy early on and from all parts of society. We must promote and instill democratic values and culture in youth and work with them so they can shape the new versions of solidarity and peace. And that means we cannot just write a youth inclusion and engagement in a forgotten policy documents. We have to work on the ground with young people, and that is very difficult. Secondly, we must dare to build digital democratic resilience and build safer digital cities and democracies. One of the things I have seen over the past 7 years here is when the conversation turns to the digital arena, disinformation, conspiracy, we meet and we share ignorance, to be a bit frank. There's a lot of need to really transform the way we work on building digital resilience, trust, dialogue, prevention on our phone, in the digital arena, as we've done for decades here in the streets, in the schools, in civil society, not replace it, add a layer. Also, I think the Nordic way of approaching this is quite unique. It's usually bottom-up with a high level of civil society engagement. We cannot wait for EU service acts or digital platforms to do the job. We can do it ourselves. Take lead and unleash civil society, digital volunteers to act on large-scale conspiracy theories and fight back with beautiful disagreement against hate and values undermining a safe democracy for all. Also, what is needed, and I think cities have a chance in doing that, is pioneering some of the new digital prevention concepts, generative AI and tech for peace. It is possible, I've seen that actually from a lot of work in Sweden, to engage and de-escalate digital conflicts, and hereby preventing violence and harms both on and offside the screen. Thirdly, and finally, we must embrace diversity and create a city for all, and I think that resembles the finale of the mayors on stage earlier. And it has two aspects: to stay firm and respect the rights of everyone, not tolerate discrimination and everyday racism to newcomers or minorities. It might be small things, but it divides us and blurs the boundaries of what is accepted, normal, and what is extreme. In the network I work in, we have witnessed attacks on an LGBT nightclub in Oslo last summer and spent a lot of time with the city of Oslo working on this. And we're also seeing an increase in hate speech online against the Muslim community and the LGBTQIA community that is motivating hate crimes and can lead into violence. I know this is also the case here in Reykjavik, but you're not alone. It's the same things happening across many cities. So we must reject this discrimination, but also work against segregation and invest to grow mixed cities and trust between people and communities. These were a little bit of the three paths I want to highlight from our work, and three hopefully a little bit more positive ways you can see for yourself in this democratic dark times. And hopefully the Nordics, by traveling on some of these paths, can remain a beacon of inspiration, perhaps, for some of the other places and generations in the world where you are not fortunate to have this peace. And please let us know if there's anything our network can do for those of you who feel like connecting. I would invite finally all of you present today who live in the Nordic land, in the peaceful Nordic lands, to join us in Nordic Safe Cities, to invest your time, your power, your hope and your imagination to safeguard the Nordic democracies together. And I will end with the words of the Icelandic Minister for Nordic Cooperation and say, if I had a glass, I would say to 200 years of more peace in our region. Thank you.